Hello, today we're going to walk through painting an egg. Please feel free to pause this video as you're watching along. What you'll need is black and white paint, a palette, a water cup, a paintbrush, a paper towel, and a surface to paint on. You're going to start by putting out your paint onto your palette. The purpose of this exercise is to help you see and to paint value. All you'll need is the black and white because you are going to be mixing all of the colors in between on your own. Once I have my paint on my palette, I'm going to get started in my sketchbook on my value scale. This is going to help me be able to see what value I should be working with. I am using a ruler and a pencil, but you do not have to, and I am making 1 inch by 1 inch boxes, and I'm making 5 of them across. If you've taken a drawing class before, you may have done something like this using a pencil or charcoal, but today we're going to be doing that utilizing paint. In the first square, I'm going to paint it white. You don't have to make this perfect. Of course, if you'd like to, you can, but this is just a tool that we are utilizing to help us paint today. Once I have my white square, I am going to take black and put it in the square all the way to the other side of my value scale. I like to make my value scales from lightest to darkest, but it doesn't really matter. Once I've completed my black and white square, I am going to create the in-between values. The first one I'm going to create is the direct middle value. This is equal parts white and black, and I'm going to paint that into the middle square. Next, I'm going to take a little bit of black and add that into that color to create almost a charcoal gray. This value is going to go in between the middle value and the black. After I complete that square and have painted that square in, I'm going to take a lot of white and just a little bit of black to make a light gray. This is going to be the square between the white and the middle gray. Once I've completed this, I will have 5 different values of gray that I have made utilizing just white and black. This is going to be able to help me paint and to see what value I'm looking at when I'm looking at my reference object. Sometimes painting on a blank canvas can be overwhelming, so it always helps to tone the area that you're going to be painting. Toning is just applying a wash of value so that you're able to work and see value a little easier. I'm just utilizing some of the gray that I used when I was making the value to make a watered down background so that I can see value a little bit easier when I'm painting in my egg. This doesn't need to be a perfect square or perfect rectangle. This is just a practice, and this is the warm-up before we get started in painting in value in the future. Then I'm going to grab my egg to work from. You may be working from an actual egg or an image online. If you're working from an actual egg, make sure to have a harsh light source directed at your egg so you're able to see your shadows very obviously. Utilizing my brush measuring technique, I'm seeing how long the egg is and exactly how long and how far the distance is between the top of my egg to the bottom of my egg. And I'm going to make little lines that I will then connect to draw in my egg into my painting. Then comes the point of this lesson, right, is to add in value. So I'm going to add a little bit of a darker tone to my egg just so I can see the difference between my egg and the background. Once I have my egg toned, I'm going to add in my shadows. Your shadows are going to be the darkest darks of the image, and you don't want to use your black and your white very frequently. You want to use it sparingly. Adding in the shadow is going to help ground our egg, but also help us to remember where the light source is and where the darkest areas of the egg should be. Once I have my shadow in to describe and ground the egg is going to get shadow within the egg itself. The egg is obviously a round object, so the shadow is not going to be dispersed in an even way. It's going to describe the egg to be round. So I'm going to apply the shadow how I see it on my egg, and most of the shadow is going to be on the opposite side of where the light source is. I always recommend doing a squint test. When you squint at an object, our brain has to make decisions of where the darkest darks are and where the lightest lights are to really describe and give your brain information to make decisions about where value and where light is hitting your object. If you've never done the squint test before, you're just going to look at your object and squint, and your brain will see value with harsh lines almost, whereas if you look at it with just your plain eyes, you won't see those harsh lines. I am mixing right onto my canvas to help give me a nice little blend with the white and the black paint. My light source is coming from the right hand side, so that is why you see the brightest bright there at where the light source is hitting my egg, and the shadow on the left hand side of the page. When I'm adding in value, I start with harsh lines, but then I blend them out as I'm working in the different values onto my page. This is creating a seamless transition of value to give it that smooth, round appearance of the object. When you're painting, it can be a little bit of a game of push and pull. What do I mean by that? You're pushing the highlights and you're pushing the lights, and you push them too light, so then you gotta pull back and push some of the darks out. This can be a little bit of a time-consuming game to try to find that perfect right value, but take time, you're getting there, and you're learning along the way, and you're practicing on how to apply value to an object to be a better painter. It may take some time, but you will get there, and you should be so proud of yourself for working from the dark darks to the lightest lights and pushing and pulling to describe the egg. It may be a simple object, but it takes time and practice to be able to apply value using paint. Great work today.